Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and I'm here today to share the first month of our Harbor Row Quilt Sew Along, Quilt Along. I did do an introductory video last month in February and talked a little bit about the sewing that we're going to be doing and kind of my plans. Super happy that the Raspberry Summer fabric has now shipped, so everyone should be able to get their fabric. We are actually going to start with the flying geese, as I mentioned last month that I thought I might do. I did some planning and that looks to be the very best way to start. I'm going to give you some different ideas for making those blocks so that your blocks can come out as perfectly as you want them to, and ready to get started on this sew along with you. Okay, as I mentioned in our introductory video, you will need the Harbor pattern to sew along with us. It has all of the cutting information that you are going to need. Now, today I am going to be talking about different ways to make the flying geese. So if you have already cut your fabrics for the flying geese, you will need to make them using the method I show you. I am going to give you a couple other options, and in that case the cutting will be different. So just wanted to share that first. Okay, so we have 20 different flying geese. We have 10 pointing towards the center on this side and 10 more pointing towards the center on this side. We also have 8 flying geese that are the exact same size as this row that are found in our small houses. Okay, so that's 28 of that size. And then we have these 3 large ones. So there are some methods where you can make multiple flying geese at a time. I am going to show you, talk a little bit of about that, because I feel like with 28 the same size, you might want to do that to save time, and it's totally up to you, but I am going to give you tips and tricks for making the flying geese as are shown in the pattern. So basically you're going to make 28, and then you are also going to make these 3 large ones. Next month we will be making the house blocks, and so you're going to set aside 8 of the smaller ones for your house roofs and the 3 larger ones. Now what we're going to try to do is to get these flying geese just right to the exact size they need to be, so that when you sew them together, your row comes out to the right size and your points are not cut off. That is one of the blessings of a row quilt, though. There are ways if your row ends up a little off at the end. This is just something I'm going to talk about now, but I did a row quilt class one time with a group of beginners, and some people just really struggled to get all their rows the correct size. And so at the end, we added fabric to make all the rows the same size before we did our inner border. So while we're striving for accuracy, I just wanted to let you know that row quilts can be really forgiving. One idea, as I mentioned before, if you wanted to make 4 flying geese at a time, and of course that wouldn't apply to the large ones, go ahead and make those individually. But for the smaller ones, there is a ruler by Creative Grids called the Ultimate Flying Geese tool, and you will be cutting your fabrics a little bit differently for that. But we have a video, so we will link this video in the description if you want to use this method. And again, don't cut your fabrics as they're shown in the pattern if you're going to use this method. Another method that you can use to get perfect flying geese is to use a block lock. And block locks are sold by the finished size. We have the unfinished size in the pattern, so you would need to subtract ½ an inch. But the block locks come in all the sizes, and they do come in the size that you would need for the small one and the large one. But again, you have to cut your fabric a little bit bigger than would be shown in our pattern. And we also have a video on making flying geese with the block lock rulers, so we will also link that in the description below. One other method you could use, and this is actually would not change the cutting from the pattern, but you could use the mini simple folded corners ruler for your small flying geese, and you could use the regular simple folded corners ruler for the large or the small. The large one does everything. But that would not change the cutting instructions. And we also have a video for these rulers. So that's all I'm going to say about the different ruler options. If you're an intermediate or advanced quilter and you have your preferred way of making flying geese, go ahead and do that. I am going to now just show a few things for those people who want to make the flying geese the traditional way, and I'm just going to give you a few tips and tricks for that. Okay, just in starting, the pattern is written where you make the large flying geese for the houses right at the beginning. So you will find that information on page 2. And if you're going to use this method, I'm going to demonstrate with the smaller flying geese, but it's absolutely the same. But you will find the cutting measurements and you'll see the instructions for the 3 large flying geese that you're going to make for the house roofs on page 2. Then you will find on page 3 the 8 roofs that you need for the 8 small houses. But then at the end of the pattern, towards the back on page 13, you'll find a flying geese section again for the 20 that you'll make for the flying geese row. Okay, so basically for a flying geese unit, you will need the rectangle, which is going to be the colored part, and then you need 2 squares, and you will draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of the fabric of each of the squares. Okay, so you will place the square on top of the rectangle, right sides together. Now I try to say to all my students when I teach in person, a thread's width inside of that line. So basically your thread is going to be on the line. It's not going to go into this portion at all. It's going to be on the line and just the smallest, just a little bit, just make sure that it's not going into this area at all. So anyway, here's one that is sewn, and after it's sewn, you will press it out, and we're about halfway done. I'm going to grab my rotary cutter and then we're going to trim this away. Okay, so after that has been sewn, I always press them first. I just feel like there's a little bit more stability if this is still there when you press it. I learned it from somebody a long time ago. I can't remember who taught me that, but then you're just going to trim and you can discard this. Now, if you're making a larger flying geese unit, like when you make the flying geese units for the large houses, save this because you'll be able to sew that together with a 1/4 inch seam, and you'll be able to have a half square triangle that you'll be able to use for something else. But on these smaller flying geese, you won't really need to make these into these will be so small. But anyway, after you have done that, then you will take your second square of fabric and you're just going to do the same thing. You're just going to sew on that line and you're going to press it out, and we're just going to do the same thing. It will give us our flying geese unit. Now if you've done everything right, you should have about a 1/4 inch at the top there, so that when you sew this, you won't be cutting off that point. Okay, I want to show you something else about assembling your row. Okay, I just brought over a few more flying geese from my scrap bin just to show you something. Sometimes, I did not do it in my harbor quilt, but sometimes I will use a low volume fabric for the background for the flying geese. something that doesn't really overwhelm the main print, but that just adds a little bit of texture. So that's definitely an option if you want to do that. There are a lot of low volume prints in the Raspberry Summer collection that you could do that with. When we get to the top row, I did actually use those types of prints in the centers of those blocks, but just a thought. And then also when you start sewing your 20 together, you're actually going to, I'm going to pull this one out because this is reversed from what we're using. We're using prints. But I like to sew them together 2 at a time. And when you sew them together, sew with the point on top that you're going to be sewing next to. See what I'm saying? So we don't need to worry about this side because there's nothing that's going to get cut off here. But this is a point that we're concerned about. So when you're sewing 2 flying geese units together, always keep this one on the top and sew that 1/4 inch seam so that they went. And I just did them in pairs, and then I had 5 and 5 that I sewed together for my 10, and then I made 10 for my other side, and then I put them together. The only place you're going to have 2 of those points meeting up, and let's just use these 2 for, is right in the center of that row. And for that, I will definitely use a pin, and let me show you how I do that. Okay, so because right here, this is the only place where, like I mentioned, the 2 points are going to meet. So I usually start by taking a pin and sticking it through right at that point. So it's coming, sometimes I need to adjust it. I'll look at the front, make sure I've got that pin right there. And then I'm going to take that pin and I'm going to kind of put it through the other one. Then I'm going to bring these together. I've got that pin so that those points are meeting. And again, I usually don't pin, but in this instance, I would, because I really want those 2 points. I don't want either one of them to get cut off. So then I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch seam. And just before I get here, I will remove that pin and I will just make sure that I don't cut off this point that we see on top. And that should protect our bottom point as well, since we had them so clearly matched up. So that's it. So you're going to make your row of 20 for this month, but you're going to set aside 8 of the smaller and 3 larger for when we put our houses together next month. Okay, so that's it for month 1. I feel like it's a little bit of work, but you've got a whole month to do it. So you will not be making any flying geese after this month, but really have fun with it. And next month, as I mentioned, we will be putting our houses together. So if you enjoyed today's video, please share it with a friend, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for stopping by.